This episode is brought to you by Parma Token, a Crypto.com tracked token. Parma gives you access to exclusive community experiments and no team or pre-sale tokens. Parma is a deflationary coin with over 50% of its tokens burned at the launch and 1% burned on each transactional event. Visit parmatoken.com for more details on acquiring this awesome token. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis. Who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis? Yeah.
It's your boy Crypto Blood. Welcome to another My Two Satoshis video. Let's get into it today. We're going to be talking about what else other than to talk about but this Bitcoin surge. I got people asking me, Blood, are you now going bullish on Bitcoin? You were wrong. No, I don't think I am, and I'm gonna explain why. You guys know I don't just go off emotions. I don't go off feelings. I'm quick to change my opinion if the evidence shows it, right? So I'm not one of those people. I pick a narrative and I stick to it. No, but in today's video, I will show you why I think we are not out of the thick of it when it comes to Bitcoin. And one clue to that is the equities markets, the Federal Reserve. I don't know if you guys checked it out today. Equities markets are doing horrible. So we are seeing a deviation from the correlation with Bitcoin and the S&P, but that's a temporary situation in my opinion. I told you guys there's a roughly 75% correlation with the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and I should say those two and Bitcoin. So that means that it doesn't correlate to 100% of the time. And this is an example of it decoupling from one another. But I think that will sync back up very soon, and I'll explain why in today's video. We'll also take a look at some good news. I love to see this. Some of your major exchanges came out and said, look, we're not sanctioning or blocking Russian citizens from importing their cryptocurrencies to our exchanges. I love to see these centralized exchanges do that. It is so very important that we continue to hold on to some fiber of the original purpose of cryptocurrencies. We've gotten way far away from it, but at least seeing that gives me some hope about this crypto industry a little bit, the centralized portion of this industry. So we'll take a look at those articles. There are also some headlines that came out later that showed the US is warning cryptocurrency exchanges about accepting funds from Russia. How do you punish a whole country, all of their citizens, for something that one person or a small group of individuals decided to do? I think that's the wrong approach. I think that's an unfair approach, and they got to do better. They got to come up with better solutions other than implementing this cancel culture with all of Russia. It just makes no sense. There are a lot of great Russians over there that don't line up with what Putin is doing, and they're being punished for it. So I just think there's a better way of doing that. You see, they sanction all those banks except the ones that primarily work in the oil industry. If you don't want this money to flow out, then you can't pick and choose where you want to sanction. If you're really about that life, you should be sanctioning all banks in Russia. You got to pay attention to the details, ladies and gentlemen. But again, today we're going to look at all those topics. Also look at this $300 million in liquidations that happened against those shorts with that rise. All that on today's episode of My Two Satoshis. Let's get it.
But before we start, if you guys find these types of videos informative, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this.
So first things first, obey your thirst, Sprite. All right. Now I'm just playing. We're going to look at this technical chart here. And as you guys see, we were deep in that channel once again and was bailed out. We were bailed out. This time it was from fundamental news. This is something that, I even didn't think about, and then many people probably didn't. And there are ramifications, negative ramifications, that are going to come from these banks being sanctioned in Russia. There's a guy over the weekend, Zoltan Polster. He used to work for the Federal Reserve. I think he works over in Switzerland now, but he came out with a statement saying, look, we might have a Lehman-like event if these Russia SWIFT bans continue. And that's what he was saying. And he goes into this whole rant about that. He thought it was going to happen over the weekend. But listen, the timing may be off, but I think he is up to something here. I think he's on to something very valid when it comes to, these SWIFT bans that the EU and the US have put on Russia. There are some unintended consequences that are going to come from that. There are banks over there that owe loans on things that aren't in Russia, right? There are loans that are due that these banks can no longer make payments on because they've been banned from the SWIFT system. With that being said, you're going to see loan defaults occur very soon. And that is a trickle on effect when you have all these leveraged instruments and leveraged debt going on across the globe. They're all intermingled, they're all connected. And so I think that's going to have an unintended consequence in the financial markets that affect the US and the EU. It could spread. It could be a contagion type situation. As Pozar said, a Lehman-like event. So watch those money market accounts. If you have any money in there, you may want to be a little careful there. But a lot of people, including myself, did not plan for or think about what happens if the United States and the EU ban Russia from participating in the banking system. Well, what happens is they go and buy Bitcoin. So I think you're seeing a lot of these billionaires and oligarchs, they are fleeing their base currencies and rubles and all that. They're fleeing and putting it in Bitcoin and then moving it across border. That's what's happening. That's why you're seeing this spike, in my opinion. That's why you're seeing this decoupling from the stock market. Because if you take a look at the stock market today, not looking good. You got NASDAQ down pretty big, 1.7%. Dow Jones down 600, almost 700 points, down 2% just about now. The close is coming up in about a half an hour at the time of recording. S&P down 1.6% as well. So the stock market not doing very well in this environment. And so I've told you guys many times before, you got to watch the stock market to figure out where cryptos are going to go. And I think you're going to see it sink back up after these Russian oligarchs get done moving their funds out of Russia via cryptocurrencies, which I love seeing this. This is what cryptos are truly built for. This is what it's all about. Censorship resistant. My man LJ put out a video today about that. That's what it's all about. And I'm excited to see these things. I really am. This is really purpose driven and purposeful utility of Bitcoin. So I'm glad to see this, and I hope to see more of this. But I just think from a technical or fundamental standpoint, they're not going to, they're going to run out of money to transmit or, into cryptos or Bitcoin, Ethereum and others. Once that runs out, I think you're going to see the crypto market sink back up with the Dow Jones, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Because one thing you have to understand, we can't have a great, thriving and flourishing economy if the oil prices are over $100 a barrel and going higher. Brent is at 105. Sweet crude is at 104. These prices are not great for an economy. So it's going to be one additional factor to slow this economy down. And then hence that translates into lower crypto prices, lower stock prices, lower bond prices. And on top of that, you got the Federal Reserve going ahead and making that move this month. It's March 1st. So this month, they're going to be making that first interest rate hike. Is it going to be a quarter basis point? Is it going to be 50 basis points? Who knows? We just know it's going to happen. Doesn't matter what amount per se, because there ain't much difference between a quarter basis point and 50 basis points. But they're going to make that move, and they're going to do it maybe more than once this month, and definitely more than once next month. So you got to start, the markets aren't really baking that. Well, they actually were baking it in. But we had that big push up Friday. A lot of short covering happened Friday, and that caused the markets to rally. People were taking those short trades off. So when you short a position, in order to take profit on that position, you have to cover it or buy back the stock. So that's what makes the markets head higher after that short covering happens. So that's where we are. I think this is a pivotal point for global markets. This is not a good situation that we're in. Things are intensifying. It looks like the talks between Ukraine and Russia did not work. So we're going to see more turmoil. Unfortunately, I hate to see this. We're going to see more turmoil in Ukraine, and subsequently, even people in Russia are going to be hurt by this financially. There are a lot of banks that are being cut off from the world. That is a problem. And on a good note, I'm glad to see this type of stuff happen. We've got Ukraine thanking the crypto community for millions donated to protect freedom. This is what I love seeing. This is what Crypto Blood gets excited about when I see crypto being used in this manner. Overall, I think they've got over $20 million donated to Ukraine, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. I mean, I don't think anyone is trying to do anything about it, but the issue is a double-edged sword. So if you're helping Ukraine, that means that on the Russian side, people can exit and get around sanctions. So you got to live with the good and live with the bad. That's just part of the technology. I don't think we should be trying to censor, crypto accounts from not letting Russia individuals move their money into the exchange and sell. That is a problem to me. And so I want to first show you some articles from about 2 days ago that talks about major crypto exchanges responding to the Ukraine crisis and, the call for them to ban Russians. You've got exchanges like Kraken. You've got exchanges like Coinbase, even Binance stepping up to the plate, saying that they are not going to take actions against these entities. It's just not the right way to minimize the impact. And I'm glad to see that. So Kraken stepped up. They're not doing anything. Binance is not doing anything. I even saw something from Coinbase, one of the latest ones, to deny the request from Ukraine to block Russian crypto users. I'm glad to see this as I don't know if this is just for headlines, because ultimately they are centralized exchanges and they run in the United States, especially Coinbase. They may have to, if they get that knock on that door from the Department of Justice or Department of Defense, whatever department, 100,000 different departments we have in this country, they get a knock on that door, you better believe they're going to switch their tune real quick. And so just that fast, about 14 hours ago, this article comes out, talks about the U.S. Treasury Department said that recent sanctions levied against Russia will include checks on digital currencies with effect on March 1st. So, all that virtue signaling, we're not going to, ban Russia citizens from depositing their funds. Yeah, right. Coinbase is going to have to do a whole 180 on that one. There's an executive order that was published earlier today. The government states that they will take action against anybody bypassing sanctions against Russia, including though through the use of digital currencies. Yikes. This is the part where we have to be more decentralized and less reliant on central exchanges. And this will show people, the rest of the world will see the true difference between decentralized exchanges and centralized exchanges. The only issue is you're going to have problems trying to get that money out. This is why I think you're going to see the proliferation of stable coins. It's going to explode over the next couple of years because people will just use stable coins to buy and sell things as though they were dollars. So you're going to start to see governments around the world really start locking down on these stable coins as well. And we're going to have to I'm telling you, we're going to have to start using less centralized stable coins. USDC is owned pretty much by Coinbase. USDT, it's not an officially US based run stable coin, but it's still centralized and there's a point of failure. So we're going to have to start using more decentralized type of stable coins. I don't know how, but that is going to be needed for sure. But like I said, the reason why we're seeing this type of pretty much hockey stick move in cryptos right now is because these Russian oligarchs are turning to crypto to skirt sanctions. It's happening. I love the use case. I love seeing it, but I don't think it's going to last, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're going to get a re-syncing of stocks and cryptos, might be by the end of this week, to be honest with you. As we start to see here, the US is starting to go around all these cryptocurrency exchanges and tell them, hey, you can't accept Bitcoin cryptocurrencies from these Russian citizens. So once that gets really implemented, you still may see buying of Bitcoin, but it's only going to take one instance of the US Treasury Department or any of those other alphabet departments to seize some of those stable coins, because the stable coins, remember, can be seized. Even if they're in your own wallet, they can blacklist that specific wallet from moving those funds off of there. So making those funds literally worthless pretty much, right? I know these billionaires don't want to stay in Bitcoin because it's too volatile. They want to be in something stable. They're just trying to get their funds out of the and around those sanctions in Russia. So once that's all settled out, I think you're going to see a reversion back to a sinking with the S&P and NASDAQ. But again, I'm so excited to see cryptos being used the way it should be used, not for speculation, but for oh shit moments like this where people got to get their money and get it how they live. I'm loving it. Let me know your comments about this whole situation. Do you think this move by some of these Russian oligarchs are going to continue to push Bitcoin up, or is it going to die out? I would love to know your thoughts about that in the comments below, because these Russians are moving fast. They're trying to dip out of all these yachts they have. They're trying to move them so they won't be seized by U.S. departments. This is crazy. I'm excited to see this go down. This moment in time is what crypto and Bitcoin was made for. It's your boy Crypto Blood. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell to receive more videos like this. I'm out of here. Holla!